ESG is a concept the mining industry is familiar with. However, new obligations by society, capital providers, and others requires greater need for credible transparency and disclosure. The absence of standardization has made it challenging for mining companies to maximize their ESG potential, and for capital providers to evaluate investment opportunities. Imagine a tree without roots trying to withstand a passing storm, or a hockey match without sideboards. Amidst the whirlwind, Digbee ESG provides a beacon to guide this movement within the mining industry.
The benefit for capital providers, insurers, communities and others is to have the confidence that the set of frameworks are aligned to the global standards in the world, but are right-sized and fit for purpose for the industry, while at the same time following an independent assessment is to be able to credibly track the companies that have given their submission.
Now, like us, Digbee felt that the world of international standards, frameworks, etc. with regards to sustainability was just incredibly complicated, and that surely there was a simpler way to translate that into something that was meaningful and right-sized for the mining organisation that you might be working for. And so what we've done is we've taken that knowledge of what is going on in that sustainability standard world, coupled with our knowledge of the mining sector, and we've brought the two together. And by bringing the two together, it means that we can ask some very pertinent questions that focus in on what is truly happening on the ground and where is the impact being felt, be it on the positive side through using ESG, but then also in terms of the threats that are being proactively managed to make sure that they don't happen with regards to ESG.
Digbee ESG fills the void for mining companies to know what to disclose, to whom, and how. It provides an independent assessment of a company's ESG through a manual, standardized, and peer-reviewed scoring process. This brings the responsibility of ESG to the board level in an easy-to-use tool. Allows third parties, such as compensation committees, to assess an objective ESG scorecard. And provides credible and concise ESG data to integrate into corporate presentations and annual reports.
The ESG movement generally is evolving at a rapid pace at the moment, and particularly in the mining space, with new rules coming out in reserve resource requirements, etc. Digbee will keep its frameworks updated on a quarterly basis, ensuring that they remain not only current, but also forward-looking.
The Digbee ESG question sets get to the heart of ESG disclosure, providing free and easy access to credible and standardized scoring, and helping third parties such as capital providers and local stakeholders to track and compare performance.
Digbee also allows you to pull together the ESG along with other technical aspects, for example, of your project. Through the different modules, you can pull together that information. And so therefore, an investor can get a really good idea with regards to what a mining company is building now, but also for the future.
Any ESG assessment in the modern world is critical to analysis, similar to perhaps a set of company financial accounts. But for any users such as capital providers, insurers and local communities, the key is to make sure that they have the trust and the confidence in the question set that is being asked to get to the truth, and also in the data that is being provided. The benefits are diverse, but ultimately allows the company and its management to stand out from its peers. Digbee's ESG frameworks are transparent and free to access. We want to assist companies in their journey of ESG, and only when they are ready to submit their submission for scoring will we invoice. For a typical exploration company, this could be considered to be around $20,000, significantly less than that of a financial audit or a legion of consultants.
The mechanism or the service that Digbee ESG will provide fills a niche for the industry that hasn't been present. It allows smaller scale junior mining companies to not only have an objective, comprehensive but approachable mechanism for assessing their own performance. But it also provides that objective source of information for investors in those junior mining companies.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Goodman, the President and CEO of Dundee Corporation. I want to talk a bit about why we bought 5% of Digbee and why we're so excited about our investment in Digbee. We've all learned over the years that ESG in mining is a critical factor, and if you don't get ESG right, you're not going to have a mine, or you're going to have a very difficult time at the best of times. But investors are looking at ESG as a box-ticking exercise, and it's a very hard exercise if you're going to treat it that way. What Digbee does is working with the companies, they look at all of the ESG issues and they put them into a framework. And what that framework does, it allows investors to actually start the dialogue with these companies. And many of these companies are junior companies that are not yet that advanced on the ESG. And it gives the investors a chance to start the dialogue, the framework, understand the culture of the company, management's commitment towards ESG, and ultimately, we believe it'll make it for a better investment for investors and a better experience for the companies involved as well, which will ultimately improve the mining industry.
In a world of proliferating ESG standards, I think Digbee's tool creates a path for smaller miners to really effectively communicate their ESG story without getting bogged down in generalist frameworks that may not be the best tool for them. It really focuses on the information that investors need to understand the risks at the appropriate stage of the company and to understand where there are opportunities from an ESG perspective that they can access in the individual assets.
ESG is here. It is here to stay. The investors are here, the regulators are here, and now the exploration companies can show that we've always been here and be rewarded for showing that we are managing those ESG threats, but also taking advantage of those opportunities for the future.
The ultimate goal of Digbee ESG is to encourage adoption of ESG throughout the industry, from the smallest explorer, private or public, all the way through to production. If we can do that, we can then begin to credibly track companies within this critical new element of analysis. In addition to that, we can tap into new pools of capital, whether they be ESG or impact investing, who have historically moved themselves away from the sector. With that, we can see greater valuations, greater investment, and a greater future for the mining sector.
So more generally, BMO recognizes that ESG integration is fast becoming the norm, and we are committed to providing our clients the best advice in navigating this change. Within mining specifically, though, ESG was already a key pillar to long-term success. And we think the increased focus from investors on ESG and climate-related disclosures really creates an opportunity in the sector for companies to differentiate and provide information to those investors that shows the ESG opportunities and how they've managed those ESG risks in a consistent way.
I think a benefit for the industry as a whole is that as an industry, we must continue to improve the perception of stakeholders at large of our industry. And that perception is driven by the performance, by the behaviors, by the values of not just the 30 largest mining companies in the world, but by all of the mining companies in the world and their behaviors, whether they're large, medium, or small, regardless of what phase in development or operation they are. And so that it's important for all of us that these mechanisms, services, these products, such as Digbee ESG will provide, are available. We need to continue to work to lift all of our performance and to help other people see that and understand that.
Digbee wants to make a positive contribution to the mining industry. We want to reach out to those companies who want to prove and want to show their ESG credentials are above and beyond. We want to provide a credible tracking process for new pools of capital to enter this industry. Ultimately, if we can succeed with this, then we've got a better industry for all.
This resource is a solution designed by miners for miners, providing the industry with the ability to identify areas of improvement while giving its stakeholders a means to credibly measure the movement towards a more sustainable future.